Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is day 21 of the 31 days of Halloween challenge, and I thought we'd just do a makeup table talk. I don't work until later on today, and usually when I work later on throughout the day, I put my face on because I'm just more awake and alerted. Plus, I've already sewn this morning, so I kind of want a break. I thought while doing my makeup, I figured why not answer some questions, like other Halloween questions. I also just haven't done a makeup thing so far. Some makeup, but I guess it's just a different vibe this time of year. I don't know. As you can tell, some of the videos I have done, I'm all glammed up and on an adventure. But yeah, I thought it'd just be fun just to, you know, more get to know me in a sense and answer these questions blindly. Just skimmed through some of the questions here. Done these like Q&A, get to know me kind of questions before, not while doing my makeup. And I try not to do duplicate questions. I know there might be a question in the list that I probably have answered before in my previous videos, like from last year and the year before. But maybe it's just a different answer this time around, or it could be the same. I don't know. So I'm probably going to be doing the makeup look I've been doing most of lately because it goes well with my hair. And I really like the gradient look with my eyebrows and what. Let's get real spooky in our talks. If you guys want to know what products I'm using using a moisturizer from Aveeno's to put on my face before my makeup, because if I don't, with the amount of coffee I've been drinking lately, because I'm stressed with 2 tables. No, I have 3. It's just 3. With 3 tables that I have going on. I'm a little stressed. I even got some water in my new glow-in-the-dark tumbler that I just stumbled upon when I was going to Starbucks one day after work. It was the glow-in-the-dark limited edition, and there was 2 left at the Starbucks location, and I was like, I might as well get it. I keep seeing the orange one, and I kind of want the orange one. But, I mean, I should get the orange one, because I have the black studded one, and I have the green studded one. I might as well just get the orange studded one, because Halloween, I guess. And for a primer for my eyes, I am using Milani, because it seems to not give me a reaction to it. Because every time I use a different primer, my eyes like sting like crazy, and I don't know why. But we should get on with the questions. First one on the list here is, what is the best horror movie of all time? Shit. We all have our taste in horror movies. When I think of horror, I think of like it's really that scary, or it's really gruesome. Horror usually means like intense fear or shock. If I really had to think about it, I don't think it's necessarily Halloween related, but it kind of fits the category in a sense. If I have to really think about it, The Hills Have Eyes, the very first one. For my foundation, I am using Maybelline, the 24-hour foundation, Natural Ivory. I've only watched the movie maybe once or twice in my life. For the life of me, I cannot sit through that movie. There is a scene that kind of terrifies me every time I watch it, because it's pretty bad. Spoiler, if you haven't watched The Hills of Eyes, there is a scene where one of the girls is just like sleeping in the trailer, and then the guy just like, the mutated guy is sneakily getting into that trailer, removes the sheets off of I'm going to assume she's like teenager. She has to be at least between 16 to 18 years old. And removes the sheets off of her because she has her headphones in, so she can't hear anything. But essentially just sees her like in her boxers or underwear, and then like proceeds to take advantage of her, if we're going to go into detail. And it's pretty bad. Like, it's always someone's fear to wake up, someone else is in the room, and then boom, like, you know. But it's just the whole aspect of, you're in a desert, your car miraculously just like breaks down, or tires are slashed, I don't know, you know, in an area you're unfamiliar and shit hits the fan literally. Like, it's pretty bad. I don't have the stomach for it. But like, is it a bad movie? No, it's great. It's an awesome movie. But can I watch it? No. To me, it's really a good horror movie. It's not good for me mentally to watch it. Now, I'm not saying like I've been in that kind of situation and for me to be like, I can't watch it. It's just I saw it when I was in high school and it kind of just like burned in my brain, and it's like, no thanks. And my mother is calling me. Question 2 is, what is the best Halloween costume you have ever worn? I really want to pick a costume that I like wore to school and work and people like really appreciate it. Wow, I have to really think about this because there's just so many. It's more like if the work was put involved, or I'm also using Kat Von D's what is this called? Setting powder. It's been a while since I've done makeup or know the terminology of it. Translucent is the shade. It's like the best one I've ever used for my skin. At my old job, I really liked doing the makeup for Scar. I did that for a Lion King thing because I thought it'd be really cool to just do a lion type of makeup with one of the wigs I owned, and I wore it to work. A lot of people didn't know what it was unless I told them about it, which is sad, really, because the makeup was like on point. I always take Halloween off for work because it's my thing, right? So I don't even go to a lot of Halloween parties. Usually when I wear costumes, I use costumes like when I'm gonna be out for a little bit, or I'm going to a party and I want to be really comfortable. I'm using the inflatable full wear concealer by L'Oreal Paris. Yeah, I think Scar was something, I think that was the best costume ever worn, only because I put some effort into my costumes. Question 3 is, would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf? I'm pretty sure I answered this question last year. I want to be a vampire. There's no question. I don't like werewolves. They're cool in the like idea of them, but the fact that you're a vampire and you get to live forever and you don't have to worry about sleep, or you have to go to the washroom or going to eat food, and you live for centuries and centuries, you can see how the world changes and whatnot. Plus you get to run very fast. Question 4 is, what movie villain do you most identify with? I always thought, like, when I watched Hocus Pocus, I always thought, like, I was like Jessica Parker, but, aka Sarah. But, after watching Hocus Pocus for years, I'm really more like Winnie. There's a lot of translucent powder from my previous batch, and I'm just gonna rock it. Don't judge me on it. If I had to pick any villain that pops into my head, that would be it. Winnie from Hocus Pocus. What would you do with $1 million right now? I don't know how this is a Halloween question. I would really like to buy like a small house. Almost like $500,000, I guess. Oh my god. A decent sized house where I can have a sewing room. And maybe just spook up my kitchen all year round with my autumn themed bathroom and my nerdy living room. But yeah, that's what I would do with $1 million right now. I'm on to question 6 now, and it says, what is one of your biggest fears? Okay, cliche as it sounds, I feel like one of these days that my neighbors are gonna crack and they're just gonna come and kill me. Like, I'm not over exaggerating. Like, I feel like they're just gonna snap and kill me. It's kind of a big fear of mine. That's why I've got cameras and alarms all over my house. Also, I'm working on my face now, and I'm using the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. I know, shocking, I'm not using Jeffree Star, but we're using this one because I don't have the fall version of Jeffree Star's palette. But question 7 is, if you could time travel, what decade would you visit? I don't know which decade I would visit. I would love to visit the time where Freddie Mercury was like an awesome singer, because I would love to see him live before his passing. Question 8 is, if you had your own late night talk show, who would be your first guest? Woo, that is a big question. I had to pick a guest for my talk show. I would love Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, she's such a badass actress. I would love to talk to her about her behind the scenes of like the movie Halloween, and like ask her questions about her mom and all that jazz. By the way, there's like 25 questions and we're only on question 9. And question 9 is, what 3 things would you bring for a night at a haunted house? Oh my god. Definitely would bring a camera or bring an EMF reader to hear what they're saying to me when I'm asking them questions, you know? Also, I'll bring my will, so when people find my body, they will like know what to take as soon as possible. Question 10 is, what is something you're really good at? I could say sewing, but that's just so cliche. I'm really good at making people feel super comfortable around me and that they could talk to me about anything. Unless you're about to kill someone, then I might judge you a little bit. In all honesty, I can just talk to anyone and they would feel really comfortable around me. Like, you wouldn't believe how many stuff people have said to me, and I won't say anything to anyone. Like, I'm a really good secret keeper. Question 11. If you can only keep 3 phone apps, which 3 would they be? Phone apps? How are these Halloween questions? If you can only have 3 phone apps. Ooh. I really like Instagram, because a lot of people can show me how to cook on there, and some people can show me makeup looks, and businesses use it to upload the latest products and all that. Like, I wouldn't mind having Instagram. Instagram for sure. I can socialize, keep each other's stories. So I don't really think I need Facebook. I could say I really want TikTok, but I don't follow everybody on Instagram, so I would like to have TikTok. And then, what's another app that I go on a lot? Maybe, no, because I can do e-transfers for Etsy. I don't know. Let me go look at my apps right now. But I always shop on Amazon on my PC. Oh, Spotify. That's the other app, Spotify. I gotta have my music on the go. 12 is, if you could replace anyone's person's head with a pumpkin, who would it be? Katrina's. Just throw my coworker under the bus. I would replace her head with a pumpkin. Question 13. If you could eat one candy forever, what would it be? Reese's Pieces. Unless you don't count Reese's as a candy. I know that my kid would pick candy corn. I know that for a fact. He would pick candy corn as the candy to have forever. See, when I think of Reese's, I don't think of them as candy. I think of them as chocolate. So that's why I'm like, maybe I'll just go with Jolly Ranchers. Jolly Ranchers it is. Preferably gummy, not the hard candy. My jaw can't take the hard candy. 14. What would it be if you dressed up for Halloween this year? Oh my god. Halloween is literally in 11 days for Halloween this year, because I'll be home. Truth be told, I don't know what I want to be. Busting out my Harley Quinn cosplay, just wear Harley Quinn, but I don't know. I really don't. I want to dress for the kids. That's why I stay home and do trick-or-treating, because I love dressing up for the kids. And sometimes the adults are like, oh, ha, 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 she's so-and-so, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, my coworker just texted me. She probably wants me to stop by Tim's and get her something. I actually don't know. I could go as Daphne. I don't have any, like, onesies that is costume related. I'll just go as Christmas Harley Quinn and just confuse everybody. Question 15. What fictional character would you like to be friends with? Oh my god. I know this might sound like stupidly cliche of me, but hear me out. I just finished watching Stranger Things. I don't understand the hype for this character. When I went to Fan Expo, because he was like the real MVP. And then I finally had time when I was injured to finish watching Stranger Things. And let me tell you, I still don't get it. I don't understand the big huge hype for Eddie Monsoon. I don't know. Like, he is the type of character I would probably hang out in high school. I can totally see myself just like meeting up with him after school and hanging out in the woods like him and Chrissy were, and substance he was talking about. But I would probably drink with him and maybe, just maybe, you know, play D&D and like talk about music, because we both like rock and roll and heavy metal. That would be the character that I would consider hanging out with in real life. He seemed really like a good chap to have around. I just don't get it why everyone's so obsessed with him. I just don't. What is the smell that makes you really happy? I don't know why, but I love the smell of campfire, like burning wood or campfire smell, because like I used to camp a lot when I was a kid, and that was my favorite thing, was when we lit the campfire and you can smell it. It was so calm and so peaceful that it's just... Question 17 is, what was the scariest moment in your life? Oh my god, this is it. This happened to me recently. Not a lot of people know this, but I've kind of hinted a couple times that I've had a crazy week in my life. So my son had a bump on his head. We thought it was acne, because my son is at the age where puberty is hitting, and we thought it was just a regular pimple. So we just left it alone. Well, then it got bigger. His dad and I were like, okay, it's probably an ingrown hair, because half his head is shaved. So we were like, it's probably an ingrown hair. So what did we do with it? We just left it alone. But then, you know, months later, and it got bigger. My son comes to me in the morning and he's like, oh, just to let you know, Mom, it popped. I was like, what do you mean, what popped? He was talking about his pimple, or whatever it was on his head. It popped. Thankfully I had a day off that day, and when I saw it, was a little concerning with the amount, because it's on his head. I know, I get it. Head's really sensitive. But the way it was just like bleeding a little bit, I was like, pimples don't usually bleed like this, but I am no doctor. So I was like, we're gonna go to the hospital. So I took him to the hospital, and I was like, hey, my son's got this weird bump on its head. It just randomly exploded, and we have no idea what it is. And they were like, okay, well, we'll get you examined and whatnot. We were there for like maybe an hour or an hour and a half. Turns out my son had a exposed blood vessel on top of his head, and then it just popped. So they were like, well, just keep an eye, keep it clean. We'll refer you to a dermatologist, and hopefully we'll hear from him soon. So we went home and throughout our day, we kept it clean, and we, you know, just kept an eye on it and waited for that phone call. Well, the next day my kid was at home, and I had to go to work. I go to work 4 hours into my shift. My mother called me and told me that the thing exploded, and I was like, oh yeah, like, we're supposed to keep an eye on it. Oh, I'll take him to the hospital in the morning tomorrow, because I have a day off, so don't worry about it. My mom was like, no, it's worse. And I was like, what do you mean, how worse? It was gushing. Like, it was worse than it was yesterday. Was alarmed, and I said, okay, well, I have to leave. So I went home, went to my parents' house first before even coming here. And my son was there, no shoes, but his sweater was like covered in blood. And I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of blood. We have to take you to the hospital, because that was a lot more than he did the day before. And I was about to leave, and my son's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mom, just to let you know. And I said, sorry about what? Like, it's out of your control. And he's like, no, I'm sorry about the house. I'm thinking he horsed around, and it's like messy. I come into the house, and I kid you not, there was so much blood on the floor of my house. I can pinpoint in the house where my kid was. Literally, someone got stabbed and just bolted out the door because his shoes were still right there. So I took him to the hospital, and I told him, like, hey, we were here yesterday. Apparently his bump exploded again, and it's worse, according to my mother, because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all. And they were like, okay, yeah, we'll check him in. They were removing the bandage because my neighbor was sent over to my mom's house, because my neighbor is actually a nurse, and came over and bandaged him up. It was gushing. Like, it was a lot. And the scary part is that my kid didn't feel anything. Like, he just didn't feel any pain. I mean, that's good, but that's, like, also alarming. Like, you don't feel that your blood's coming out of your body. I mean, I've never had an injury like that in my life, but just saying. So that was pretty scary. And I remember when they took off the bandages, I started to cry because I was like, I don't know why. Like, why is my son randomly bleeding from the head? Like, it's just, and he has no pain. It's a lot. Like, I get it. The head's very sensitive. I understand. But this was just like, it was like a faucet. And I was like, over this small bump, I don't understand. And so, the doctors were baffled, and everything else was just crazy. And so they cauterized it because there was no other way they could stop it. They couldn't cut it and stitch it without knowing what was going on. So they just cauterized it. So Gabe had to, like, be careful where he slept, because if it scrapes, it's like not like to heal. It's like once it scrapes, it's gonna bleed again, which he did once. He was laying on the couch, and he woke up the one morning and there was like blood going this way, where you can tell he was leaning like this, and then there was blood going down the side of his head. It was pretty scary. And so he went for surgery with a plastic surgeon a week after that. And after they removed it and they stitched his head there, I went up to the doctors. I was like, okay, so what is it? And they were like, we still don't know, but we think it's still like an exposed blood vessel. Also, I forgot to point out, when it exploded the second time and he got examined, it wasn't exploded blood vessels anymore. It was multiple. There was multiple exposed blood vessels on his head. That's why they were like, that's probably why he had so much blood. Like, once it popped and, you know, it just kept flowing. Don't know. So, so after the surgery, they were like, we're going to take the specimen, and then we're going to do a checkup in 2 weeks to see how well his stitches are doing and whatnot. About 3 days after he was checked out and everything, they were like, yeah, it is exactly what it was. It was an actual blood vessel that, like, it just grew in the wrong place at the wrong time. And what was funny was that his friend, like, Gabe's friend, had it, but it was, like, right here on his face. And then he said it exploded, they cauterized it, and then it you know, healed on its own, and now there's just like a little indent scar on his friend's face. But no, my son had to get the worst one of that, and to this day they still don't understand why. Like, it grew there. They don't understand why it just randomly exploded. Like, they just, we don't know. We don't know. And that's what's scary, is because we don't know what's going on. Oh, he's fine, by the way. After all of that, he is fine. Okay. On to the next question. Question 18. If you had to... I don't know how I want to answer this question. If you had to kidnap the president, what would your game plan be? You have to be like a psychopath to go after the president. So I'm not that, so we're just gonna skip that question. But for question 19, who is a celebrity that you dislike for no particular reason? I don't know if there's any celebrities out there that I just dislike. Oh, no, that's a reason. I don't know. There's no celebrity that I can think of that, like, rubs me the wrong way for no reason. I don't know. We are down to 5 questions, guys. And question 20 is, who is your favorite superhero? It's Jean Grey. I know that sounds weird. You would think that I would pick Supergirl from cosplaying her because I love Smallville and Superman's name tattooed on me. You would think Batman because I've got Batman tattooed on me. You would think Spider-Man because I've cosplayed Black Cat and Mary Jane. A lot of versions of Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy. You would think so, but no. Honestly, Jean Grey. I mean, like, look. Like, look. All my figures and my prints. She is amazing. Question 21. Would you rather go camping or glamping? What the fuck is glamping? Glamping, a form of camping involving accommodation of facilities more luxurious than associated with traditional camping. I would go traditional. Because camping is just surviving in the wilderness with basic stuff. It's supposed to be like a getaway. You're supposed to get away from things like that when you're camping. You're not supposed to be like in a nice hut with like a stove and a microwave. That's what camping's all about. You fish, you hike, you kayak. I don't know. It's just glamping. That's just not a style for me for camping. I really need to do my other eyebrow. Question 22. If you became a witch, what would your first spell be? I know this is like also really cliche, but I would cheat my ass way to get like a lot of money. That $1 million question earlier, yeah, if I was a witch, I would try to find ways I can have more than $1 million. I know that sounds weird, but there's gotta be a spell out there that is just good for wealth. I would also try to use a spell to like try see if I can fix this house better. Like I would use it to paint my walls and like give me better outlets, you know. Question 23. What fantasy world do you wish you could visit? Fantasy world to visit? Can I just say I'm visiting and I'm just gonna leave my ass there? Honestly, I've thought about this since I was a kid, and still to this day, I want it to happen. I would love to live in the world of Pokemon. Like, screw working in retail and, like, owning my own place. Like, I kind of want a place. But, like, I would go on a Pokemon journey. Because who wouldn't want to ride a Charizard and, like, ride on an Arcanine and surf on a Lapras or a Blastoise and try to find, like, legendary Pokemon and camping? And actually the fucking legit camping, not like this glamping nonsense. That would be the fantasy world that I would visit. But I'm not coming back. Question 24. What's the funniest Halloween costume you've ever seen? I think it happened in September, October. I went to Otaku-thon. And I kid you not, someone... It wasn't a cosplay, but I think it was a pretty good costume in general. A guy walked past me and he had a table around his head, and his neck was the stand, and his head had a lampshade. And I was like, I don't get it, like, what are you? And he, kid you not, said, I'm a one-night stand. I don't know, out of all costumes, that was hilarious. The guy was honestly a one-night stand. If you are the one-night stand guy who went to Otaku-thon in like 2016, your costume was amazing. I enjoyed it. It was the best one I've ever seen in my life. Okay, we're on the last question, and I still have like my eyeliner to do and other things. Question 25. How did your family celebrate Halloween growing up? Well, but usually my mom was the one who celebrated Halloween with me. My dad doesn't understand. To this day, my dad doesn't understand why I love Halloween. But my mom would take me, and then she would take me around places. And we would get, my sister and I, my mom, we would get our candy. And then my mom, my dad, my sister, and myself, we would be in the living room and we would just dump our candy all over the floor. We would dump our candy all over the floor, and my sister and I would trade because my sister liked other things than I did, and vice versa. So I would take her, I think I liked Kit Kats and the Reese's. And then my sister liked Smarties. I think she liked crunchy bars and all that. And then whatever we both didn't like, we just gave to my parents. So my mom would take the gummy worms, because my mom liked gummy worms. And at the time, I love it now, so, but at the time, my dad would want the coffee crisp. I don't know if my mom wanted a coffee crisp. Like, they would take the coffee crisp. That's what we would do. We would just trade candies, and then that would be it for the night. And whatever. It's just the way that we all got candy. And it's also to prevent us from stealing each other's candies. Because my mom, when we grew up, my parents would take her candy when we didn't eat them. And then my sister would get mad that I had candy in her, like, that she wanted in my bag, that she already ate of hers, and then vice versa. So we would just exchange. I'll be right back. I can't do my eyeliner when I'm talking and whatnot. Okay, I really messed up my eyeliner, but I think I saved it by putting too much equally. But that's what we did as a family. And I passed that tradition with Gabe. So Gabe does it, but now he's just like, you can have all of my Reese's. I'm not gonna put any lipstick on because there's absolutely no point putting lipstick, because I eat and drink constantly at work. Like, I always snack. I don't know if it's out of sheer boredom, but I just snack. But I will be putting a highlighter on, and the highlighter I'm using is the Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust. It's in the middle and all that. But my camera's dying, so if you guys like this video of all the questions that I just asked and answered, for you guys to get to know me or whatever, and get to know myself actually with the things that pop up in my head, give this video a nice like. And if you don't follow me and my other social media accounts, all the links are down below in the description box as well. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to see further content I will be doing for the month of October for the 31 Days of Halloween Challenge and other things, etc. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video. Take care. Bye.